Violates sovereignty. Iran accuses US of weaponizing sanctions against India. Global South. Iran has accused the United States of weaponizing the global economy through its continued use of sanctions against sovereign nations like Iran and India. In a post on X, the Iranian government described these sanctions as coercive and discriminatory, claiming they are designed to suppress independent development and enforce American geopolitical interests. The United States continues to weaponize the economy and use sanctions as tools to dictate its will on independent nations such as Iran and India and impede their growth and development, the post read, directly challenging Washington's foreign policy approach. The United States continues to weaponize the economy and use sanctions as tools to dictate its will on independent nations such as Iran and India and impede their growth and development. These coercive discriminatory actions violate the principles of international law in Iran and India. Iran_in_India July 31, 2025. Labeling the practice a modern form of economic imperialism, Iran asserted that such actions violate international law and the sovereignty of nations. The post further called for collective resistance to these policies as a step toward building a stronger global south and a more equitable, non-Western-led multilateral world order. A day after imposing a 25% tariff on Indian imports, U.S. President Donald Trump intensified his criticism of India's trade practices and its close ties with Russia. In a post on his social media platform Truth Social, Trump dismissed concerns over India's growing relationship with Moscow, writing, "I don't care what India does with Russia. They can take their dead economies down together, for all I care." Trump argued that the United States has conducted very little business with India, attributing it to what he described as very high tariffs, among the highest in the world, and stringent non-monetary trade barriers that make access to the Indian market difficult. His post reiterated frustration over India's long-standing defense and energy partnerships with Russia, particularly at a time when Western nations are pushing for the isolation of Moscow over its actions in Ukraine. Taking aim at former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev, Trump issued a stern warning. Tell Medvedev, the failed former president of Russia, who thinks he's still president, to watch his words. He's entering very dangerous territory. His remarks underscored a combative stance toward both New Delhi and Moscow, positioning the tariff announcement as part of a broader response to what he sees as a challenge to U.S. economic and geopolitical interests. The United States has sanctioned at least 6 Indian companies for allegedly engaging in the trade of Iranian petroleum and petrochemical products, as part of a sweeping action against 20 global entities. The move is part of Washington's ongoing effort to tighten economic pressure on Tehran. Swipe left for next video. The U.S. Department of State announced the sanctions on Wednesday, alleging that the Indian companies knowingly conducted significant transactions involving the purchase and marketing of Iranian petroleum products, actions deemed to violate U.S. sanctions on Iran. Latest blogs.